Alright guys, what's up? It is Shin, and today I want to be talking about who I think you should pick in phase 1 of 2.3 in Honkai Star Rail. These 5 stars are going to be Firefly or Ruan Mei. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about best answer, pick who you like. Waifu over meta will always be the best option because that is when you're having the most fun with the game, and that is the most important part of the game. And never forget that favorite characters will always have better value on your account. But the quick answer I will give at the end of the video. So starting off, I'll go over the characters' kits and what they do, and then I'll get into what I think you should pick. So in phase 1, Firefly Ruan Mei. Starting off with Firefly, the new fire destruction character. She implants fire weakness to enemies and deals insane break damage. Takes advantage of Harmony Trailblazer's super break and has super break built into her own kit as well, so she does insane damage when enemies are broken. Reduces damage taken when she has lower HP, and then she has amazing energy regen because her talent starts her at 50% no matter what, and her skill restores 60% of her max energy, which is absolutely crazy. So she's gonna be, your new 5-star DPS. I think she's going to be really good. I think the only downside I could think of is maybe her damage isn't going to be so great unless the enemy is broken. Granted, she's going to have a great time breaking enemies because everything will have fire weakness. So with that in mind, I think she's going to be a great DPS. And with that, I think she's going to be a very solid DPS for those who maybe don't have 2 DPS or just want her as kind of like going towards the new meta, with break effect being a very important part of the game right now. So maybe you want something that's more in tune with the current meta or where the game is going, and very solid DPS. Now the rerun of Ruan Mei, this is a character of all time, potentially the best character in the game, if not at least the best Harmony character in my opinion. You can rip me to shreds if you disagree in the comments. She is the best in slot support for break effect other than Harmony Trailblazer. Her skill is insane. Her kit does everything other than your taxes. She increases break effect efficiency, ult increases alt type res pen, delays action of weakness broken enemies. She increases your team's speed, increases damage percent just for your team with her field up, and she is skill point positive because you're using her skill once every 3 turns, which is just incredible. So she's just always going to be really good, and she's good for any team, and she allows for sustain welt to really pop off and be successful in sustaining. So I think a lot of it goes into personal preference and where your account is. So I think if I had to give an answer to the video on who I think is the most valuable on your account, I will always say Ruan Mei, because supports are not going to be as easily power crept as DPS. So right now we have Boot Hill for a break effect DPS as well, who also does element implanting. So there is that to think as well. So if you have Boot Hill, you don't necessarily have to pull for Firefly if you're looking from like a meta standpoint. I do think she's going to be very strong. One of the better DPSs in the game at the moment. And right now with how like MOC and stuff, they're everything's really catering towards that break effect playstyle, which just kind of whatever is encouraging people to pull more characters is what they're going to do, especially with like new characters. They're going to support the new characters, so you pull for them. But I think Ruan Mei has the better value for your account just because she's so versatile. You can use her in any team and she's upping your team's damage. She's just doing so much for your team no matter what. And so like it's just the versatility and utility of Ruan Mei is just so good. Now with Firefly, I have to say she's really, really good. I think she's gonna be really strong for a while at least. But like I said, main DPS is more susceptible to power creep. And especially at this point in the game, a lot of people pulled for Acheron. So she kind of does the thing where she just ignores toughness and just can break stuff on her own. So there's like that kind of niche like aspect to it. Like I have E6S1 Acheron on my main account, and I have E0S0 Acheron on my alt account. I'm pulling for Firefly on my alt account because I'm at the guarantee, but I'm going to try my best to get Ruan Mei as well, because, you know, best in slot team for Firefly is Firefly, Harmony Trailblazer, Ruan Mei, Gallagher. And that is something I want to talk about as well. I feel like Firefly is a little bit more restricted in team comps. Even if Acheron requires more Nihility units, so you have to run 3 Nihility units, I don't think that's as much of a restriction as people give it credit, because Pella, Silverwolf, Black Swan, Kafka, Gwenaifen, Luca, Sampo, Welt are all like, they're all really good for her because she just needs you to be able to apply debuffs. And so ironically, you know, this, and in all fairness, comparing any character to Acheron is kind of unfair towards the other character, but I do personally feel like Firefly is one of the better contenders to Acheron as a whole, and that's why I don't feel as bad comparing them together. But I do think Firefly loses so much damage if you don't have Ruan Mei with her. Granted, she gets a lot of damage from Harmony Trailblazer at E4, but it's a little bit more restrictive because her best in slot is Firefly, Harmony Trailblazer, Ruan Mei, Gallagher, and it's only that, and there's not really much room. Like, you can do other characters, like you can do a Bronya, a Sparkle, an Asta is a great free-to-play option, and then you could even do like Pella because defense shred is still very valuable. But you lose out on so much damage if you don't have those 3 characters. Or I mean, you could technically replace Gallagher, but I mean it's a break effect team, so you would want him in there. So in my opinion, I think Firefly is a little bit more restricted in the teams you want to use her with. Whereas I think Acheron, you can use Pella and Welt, Gwenaifen and Pella, and it does really good because most of your damage is just coming from Acheron's ult, and she has insane scaling. And Gwenaifen and Pella both increase the damage you deal. Just one reduces defense and one just increases damage ally or enemies are taking. So I think Acheron just has more options for her teams to do good damage regardless, whereas Firefly doesn't. And so that's why I think she kind of suffers a little bit comparing her to Acheron. But I think she's still a fantastic unit. I think we just have to be honest and acknowledge the weaknesses that characters do have, especially when you're potentially spending money on them. And in the reality is Ruan Mei has almost no downsides, and what the downsides she does have, if any, are completely outweighed by everything she brings to your team just for being there. And that is just the long and short of it. Is Ruan Mei is better than Firefly in terms of overall account value because DPSs can get power crept, and I don't think Ruan Mei is going to get power crept at all for a while at best. Like, being super generous to like Hoyoverse power creeping, I think she will not get power crept for a very long time unless it's like a direct one-to-one, does the exact same thing but better. And so with that is this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know who you guys are pulling for on this banner. Like I said, for myself, I'm pulling Firefly, then I'm gonna shoot for Ruan Mei because I'm going against my own advice, and I just want her. I just want her, so I'm gonna pull for her. So with that, leave a like if you liked it, comment who you're pulling for, and if you're excited for this banner, or what kind of what your thoughts are about the game in general, and subscribe for more Honkai Star Rail content, and I will see you next time.